Tonight's Eye on Chicago now. A suburban author brings to light a decades-old controversy that still resonates today. The author and his subject are from different worlds and different times, but their stories have become intertwined.
Kula is honest, conscientious, hardworking, and a real gentleman.
Author and history teacher Michael Sofer's first book is a story about truth and deception, deep wounds, and strongly held beliefs.
Turner looked straight into Kula's eyes, his back straight, his jaws clenched. "I don't ever want to see your face at my door again," he said.
This is not a work of fiction. It's the story of a man named Reinhold Kula. He came to the U.S. from Germany in 1957 and for decades worked as a custodian at Oak Park and River Forest High School. He cleaned the very classroom in which Michael Sofer would teach decades later. And on a day in 2020, Sofer brought Kula's story to his students.
At the high school, Kula was indispensable. He's such a good custodian that within a few years he's promoted to the head custodian.
But what no one at the school knew was a moral, ethical, and legal battle was about to explode, with their beloved custodian at the center.
In late 1982, Reinhold Kula was accused of having been a Nazi, a member of the SS, a guard at the Gross Rosen slave labor camp. If not it was among the most brutal of the non-killing centers of the slave labor facilities.
How did he get here?
So the paperwork that we had on Nazis was there, but it was not well organized. He left off then the next 3 years where he served in a slave labor camp.
He contended all along that he had done nothing wrong.
Yes, his kind of constant line was, "I did no wrong, I killed nobody." Later, he will be asked if he had killed anyone, and he will say simply, I don't remember.
So things started to unravel in the summer of 1982.
Yes.
The word was out.
So he is brought in for an interview with the Justice Department officials in the summer of '82.
Kula had withheld vital information on his paperwork, grounds for deportation. Did he?
Yeah, so that anybody at the consulate, they were supposed to list the organizations that they were in. He doesn't list that he was in the SS. This was a standard thing. He's not on trial for being a Nazi. He freely and openly admits that. The court case was simply, did he lie on his visa?
But as Kula's deportation trial dragged on for months,
the moral argument and the legal argument were fused in the Oak Park boardroom.
How did this land in Oak Park, which considered itself inclusive, integrated, and diverse?
Yeah, there's a group of people who are saying, we're innocent until proven guilty, and until the trial is done, he should keep his job.
And there were people just as convinced on the other side.
He was a Nazi camp guard. He clearly can't work in a public school. He's been lying for 40 years, and he did horrible things. He's got to go.
The moral argument was what maintains the theme through your book, and that is, what do we do with our custodian?
Yes, it tore the board apart, it tore the school apart. They were trying to figure out what pedagogical responsibilities, after all, this is a school.
It was interesting, the response from students who felt like it wasn't fair to Kula, and they said it wasn't fair to judge people by their past. He hasn't done anything to us.
There's a history teacher at the school who is saying every day kids come into the building, and our job as educators is to say what you do at 14 and 15 and 16 and 17 and 18, what you do matters. How can we then say what Reinhold Kula did at 19 and 20 and 21 and 22 doesn't?
If Kula had said, "I'm sorry for what I did," do you think that would have changed anything?
I don't think there's a world in which Reinhold Kula would have said, "I'm sorry for what I did," because I don't think Reinhold Kula was at any point sorry for what he did. The above action was taken because the board found Mr. Kula to be a former guard in a Nazi concentration camp and felt that former SS soldiers should not be employed at the school.
On January 30th, the District 200 business office issued Reinhold Kula a notice of employee separation. But the district paid Kula every 2 weeks through the following June. Are you okay with what they did in the end?
No.
Why not?
They didn't fire him. They gave him a sweetheart retirement deal. They gave him benefits more than they had to. They gave him a severance package. They rewarded him. And he should have been, I think, fired right away.
On August 5th, 1987, a federal appeals court ruled he would be deported. Reinhold Kula died in Germany in 2006, never having been tried for his actions in World War II. Why was this so important to you personally to write this book and take 3 years researching it?
Yeah, I had grown up in the Oak Park area. I'd gone to the high school. I was teaching there. It was very, very personally relevant. It was also relevant as a Jew, kind of understanding what is the, anti-Semitism, what does it look like?
Sofer recalled a telling comment from a student the day he introduced Kula's story to his class.
This guy was a literal Nazi. Can't imagine it took more than a few minutes to fire him, right? Mr. Sofer, right?
But there comes a time where maybe you have to reconsider your thoughts about someone once you learn what they've done in the past.
Yes, there does come that time.
And for many people,
it didn't come.
Michael Sofer now teaches history at Lake Forest High School. Once again, the book is called Our Nazi, An American Suburb's Encounter with Evil. We want to thank the University of Chicago Press for its help with the story, and we also want to thank Temple Beth Israel in Skokie for inviting us into their library for our interview.